South Korea's ambitions in the field of artificial intelligence are being positively assessed by global market analysts, with one international investment firm forecasting big gains in local stock market over the next decade, led by AI-related advances. Accordingly, what is the country's AI plan? We have more in Press Perspective today. Hello and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Press Perspective. It's July 16th here in Seoul. I'm Min Sunhee. So, what are the prospects of South Korea ranking among the world's top 3 AI powerhouses? To answer that question and more, I have Celio Fioretti with French daily Le Croix here in the studio. Celio, it's great to have you here.
Glad to be here.
And I also have Professor Kim Yong-Jin at Sogang University with us virtually. Professor Kim, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
Hello, good rainy afternoon.
Right, it is raining here in capital Seoul.
Yeah.
Celia, before we touch upon the new administration's ambitious AI blueprint, let's briefly touch upon an outlook shared by a global investment company that believes the local stock market will post some of the highest returns over the next decade, bolstered by the AI industry. Do tell us a bit more about this outlook.
Exactly. Well, there's growing optimism surrounding South Korea long-term equity, and a lot of it has to do with the country's strengths in AI and tech industries, according to a new report from Morningstar. The global investment firm is projecting some of the highest returns from South Korean stocks among emerging markets over the next decade, despite some threats, including the US tariff that might come starting August 1st. The reason is South Korea is exceptionally well positioned in areas like semiconductors, high-performance computing, and AI, all of which are seeing explosive demand and global demand in the world. Morningstar points to Korean firms' dominance in AI, chip making, and memory technologies are some structural drivers, a good basis to work on, and will allow for big earning for Korea over the years to come. And this confidence is echoed locally in South Korea. The country, a new presidential administration is doubling down on AI, not just as a growth engine, but something to make a strategic goal for the country. President Lee Jae-myung is preparing what calls a national AI innovation strategy, which includes overhaul of the research and development strategy, talent cultivation, regulatory frameworks to foster AI adoption across sectors of the economy and in the society in general. There's also in this strategy a major focus on public-private partnerships with leading Korean firms like Samsung or SK hynix, which are expected to play a central role in this AI revolution in South Korea. So when you combine all these factors, the good infrastructures, the government that wants to double down on AI, and the companies already there and working on that, it really makes a good combination of factors that will help Korea to get an edge of the other country on AI and technologies.
Right, and before we further delve into that, Professor Kim, speaking as a scholar, do you see the AI industry further driving the rally of the local stock market?
Absolutely, absolutely. As Celio mentioned, they explained very well a lot of benefits or a lot of strengths of Korean industries in AI in the hardware, especially attract foreign investors. The foreign and domestic investors are investing in Korean stock market, focusing on AI chip manufacturer, SK hynix and Samsung Electronics, the cloud service provider Samsung SDS and LG CNS, search engine company Naver, and messaging platform Kakao. In addition, like Sheila mentioned, foreign investors will look like having trust in economic policies of the newly inaugurated South Korean President Lee Jae-myung government, and then who is committed to boosting AI investment. It is known that there will be a huge investment, let's say about 735 billion US dollars in the AI sector itself, including AI hardware like AI data center and chips, and AI software like foundation models and physical AI models in near future. This investment will boost up demand in AI industry, which will lead to more investment in supply side. Accordingly, the rally in the stock market will continue for a while.
Right, good to know. And Celio, do tell us a bit more about the Lee Jae-myung administration's plan to place South Korea among the world's top 3 AI powerhouses.
Indeed, it's an initiative driven already by a massive 100 trillion won investment. It's about $700 billion. It's aimed to build what Seoul calls a sovereign AI. The core idea is simple. It's to create an AI system that is rooted in Korean language, Korean culture, Korean data, breaking free from dependence on other countries' system. We saw recently with the Chinese AI DeepSeek, the problem that Korea feared that maybe this AI system would catch some data from Korean companies, from Korean government. So all these issues are really important in this era of sovereignty. You want to have your own tools that will not be interfering with your government and with your economy. And so this cornerstone of the plan for the infrastructure to make this AI, sovereign AI, is to partners with companies and particularly SK Group to build what would be the Northeast Asia largest data center in Ulsan. It's a massive facilities, and on the technology front also, South Korea is doubling down, as we said, on AI and producing the AI semiconductor, the high-band memories chip that is now the main core of the economy for companies like SK Hynix or Samsung. And so they're really developing and investing a lot, thanks also to the government that is pushing on that way too, to foster creativity, to get an edge on the other competitors, maybe in Taiwan, Japan, or even now the US. The plan, though, is not without some risk. Of course, it's like a gambling also. Experts highlight structural hurdles such as a limited Korean language data set, because Korean is mostly spoken in Korea, so it limits how much you can build on it. And also, it's a question of how the plan will be financed over the long run. It's a good thing to start with a massive amount of money, but how sustainable is it going to be in the coming years, in the 5 years? So that has to be addressed later. But still, it really could transform Korea, if things go well, into a really AI global powerhouse. And that is the goal of the current administration.
Right, so that is the goal for the future. Professor Kim, where does South Korea currently stand in the global AI race, and how feasible is South Korea's AI blueprint, do you think?
Well, I'd like to introduce 2 stats in terms of that, sense. The first one is the Global Vibrance Tool 2024 from Stanford Institute for Human-Centered AI. It shows that South Korea is positioned at the 7th place out of 36 countries investigated. This is a kind of tracking tool. So this tracking tool measures a country's AI ecosystem on 42 AI-specific indicators, including research papers, private investment, patent, and more. According to the tool, the U.S. is ranked at the top, followed by China, United Kingdom, India, interestingly, United Arab Emirates, and France, then Korea, right? Another research, named Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index by model type, reveals that Korea is one of the 4 countries, including the U.S., China, and France, that developed AI foundation models ranked top 10 to 15. If South Korean AI foundation models outperform those of France, like Mistral, Korea will possibly become the global top 3 country. In the sense, I think there would be a great opportunities for Lee Jae-myung administration to make it happen.
Right, and speaking about his administration, Celio, there was quite a bit of headlines upon his appointment of an AI secretary. Who is the person behind this post, and what can we expect from him based on his past credentials?
Indeed, President Lee Jae-myung surprised many by naming Ha Jong-woo, leading AI technologist from Naver, as South Korea's first ever senior presidential secretary for AI future planning. Ha brings a rare blend of academic rigor and hands-on industry expertise. He earned his PhD in computer science and electrical engineering from Seoul National University, and has led Naver's AI Innovation Center, overseeing the development of HyperClova X, a language model used in AI. Ha is also the public face of Korea Sovereign AI Plan, a concept that, as we said, emphasized building a Korean AI system. And so I think he is a good man in the right position. What we can expect from him is first a deep technical leadership. As I mentioned, he worked firsthand in Naver and knows how companies work. It's not just having ideas, it's also having the practicality and knowing how to make it happen. And that will help really in how to implement those policies. And also he has an academic background, which published more than 100 papers about AI, and is also participated in many conferences. And his research really helped to gather get a grasp on what's the trend in the sector, on the creation, on the innovation, and with this practicality that he has in Naver, helped to combine the best of both worlds, I would say. So according to the diplomat, this sovereign AI experiment is really important these days, and having people that can enable it to happen, to implement it really well, is really crucial to do it fast and do it right. It's a highly costly program, so you really have to have people that have an expertise on it. I think this battle-tested AI leader, Ha Jong-woo, really showed that also the Lee Jae-myung administration is trying to gather around experts in different fields to allow his policies to be implemented well.
Right, and staying with that, Celio, the President's nomination for Science Minister, I understand, is also an AI expert, right? Tell us a bit about him.
Exactly. It's still the same ideas to pick the experts to implement policies, and in that case, it's Bae Kyung-hoon, head of LG AI Research, LG Group's Research Institute on Technology, and he was named Science Minister. So really, it's still this ideas to be surrounded by experts. I think it's a good sign for both the country and also the industries, and we'll see how far that can go.
Right, and that being said, Professor Kim, how do these appointments look to advance the new administration's AI ambitions, do you think?
Well, those appointments, give us some kind of hint. Probably the direction of AI development in Korea goes two ways. The first one will be a sovereign AI development driven by AI Secretary Mr. Ha. And the second will be the physical AI development driven by the Minister Bae. AI Secretary Ha will focus on the AI infrastructure, including AI data center, AI chips, cloud computing infrastructure, and finally, the foundation model. While the Minister Bae, we can see from his expertise, will focus on the utilization of the AI and the transformation of industries into the AI-driven or AI-based, manufacturing industries. And so that we can improve the productivity of manufacturing industries and service industries, and also enhance the functionality and quality of product and services. And we'll see those two different directions.
Right, so this nominees, of course, we'll see how they work once they are confirmed into their office. In the meantime, Celio, based on what Professor Kim had spoken about earlier, it appears that France is slightly ahead of South Korea with regard to the AI race, right? For the sake of comparison, what can you tell us about Europe's own race?
Yeah, Europe's approach to the AI race is quite distinct from US or Asian countries like South Korea. It's driven much more by regulation and ethics. the EU AI Act passed last year is the world's first major attempt to regulate artificial intelligence comprehensively. And it categorized AI system by risk, banning those deemed unacceptable, like social scoring, tightly regulating high-risk application, such as facial recognition, health tech, or public infrastructures. The goal is to build what Europe calls a trustworthy AI, an AI that respects fundamental rights, privacy, and democratic values to limit what sort of abuse could be done with AI. And while this has earned some praise globally, especially from NGOs of human rights, it's also raised some concern that it might be too much burden on the companies to really create a new system and limit them how they can experiment. And still there's some momentum. As we mentioned, France and Germany are leading in Europe, investing billions into sovereign AI, including, as Professor Kim said, the Mistral AI, the French one. That is an answer to open AI, maybe, while Germany also backing a pan-European cloud network to rival with AWS or Azure. Yet challenges remain. Europe still lags behind the US and China on that matter. And in terms of foundational models, venture funding and industrial scale AI, it's still lagging behind. So EU is betting on maybe more regulation, regulatory leadership, and research excellence in specific sectors to get an edge on the other countries.
Right, and speaking about regulation, Professor Kim, at the start of this year, South Korea passed the AI Basic Act, which is slated to go into effect next January, if I'm not mistaken. What is the impact of such regulation, do you think, on AI advancements, generally speaking?
Right. The AI Basic Act of South Korea was passed in December last year and will be effective in next January. With this, Korea became the second country after the European Union to adopt a comprehensive AI regulatory framework, which in turn, will position Korea as a global leader in trustworthy and innovative AI. And basically, this kind of regulatory framework will, contribute Korea to control the AIs to make it, sovereign AIs. And it is designed to provide a legal framework to advance Korea's, national competitive in AI, while ensuring ethical standard and public trust, just like, EU framework, right? And then the act, set up a legal ground for establishing a national AI control tower, an AI safety institute, and various governmental initiatives in R&D, standardization, and policies. The legislation also, mandates separate initiatives to support the national AI infrastructures, including training data and data centers, and fostering SMEs and startups and talent in the AI field. The key part of the act is that, just like in EU, the act assigns transparency and safety responsibility to businesses that develop and deploy high-impact AI and generative AIs. This mandate will impose some burdens to businesses to comply with, but giving some power to Korean companies to lead the way of future AI.
Right, and speaking about Korean companies leading the AI path, Celio, a number of foreign media outlets covered SK's partnership with Amazon to build an AI data center here in South Korea. Could you tell us a bit more about this joint venture and its implications? Indeed,
SK Group has a $5 billion partnership with Amazon Web Services to build an AI data centers in Ulsan. It signaled Korea push into a hyperscale AI infrastructure. The first phase, launching around 2027, will deliver 40 megawatt of power and 60,000 GPUs, expanding over 100 megawatt by 2029. Strategically sited next to SK Gas LNG plant, it resolved key issues like energy and cooling bottlenecks that have held back large-scale AI deployment. I read an interesting piece in the Sogang Daily recently that reported that still Korea is pushing towards data centers to get far ahead in the race against countries like Germany that developed a bigger technology and industry on data center, but still that there's some limitation to what Korea can do right now is that, for example, the high electricity price in Korea, expensive land, and weak long-term planning has delayed how much Korea could do, and there will be some room for improvement on that. And also what the newspaper said is that these days, so far, the data centers are located around Seoul in the neighboring area, and that poses a massive pressure on the electric grid. So it's a good thing that plans like this for putting data centers in Ulsan far from where all the pressure is in the country is a good sign that Korea is now trying to think differently to how to approach this problem, and that will lead to new experimentation like we have seen, like we will see in Ulsan. So it's possible when governments and also companies agreed on a new strategy like we're seeing right now, that will help to overcome the structural limitation induced by the country. But it's still promising, and we'll see how it can work. You're
right. We'll definitely see how the partnership between the private and public sector turn out then. All right, Celio, I'm afraid that's all the time we have. Thank you so much for your time and your thoughts. And Professor Kim at Sogang University, thank you very much for your insights.
Thank you for having me.
Right, that ends this edition of Press Perspective. As always, thank you for watching, and do join us again same time tomorrow for yet another panel discussion.